And going live in 3, 2, 1. Good evening. Welcome to this webinar. We've got about a minute before we start, so if anyone's come in and wants to ask any questions, I'm Jim Haliburton, also known as the HMO Daddy. I will be doing the webinar, and you'll hear Roland in the background occasionally. He's the Master of Ceremonies. He will be dealing with questions that you put in. Say hello, Roland.
Hey guys, how's it going? If you could just type something into the question box just to let us know that you can hear us okay and you can see the slides, that'd be great.
Good.
Hi Stuart, great to see you. Hi Michael, hi Cliff. Anyone else online?
Come up and say hello. Right. Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock. Shall we get started, Roland?
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent, good. Right, a 40-year-old college lecturer built a property portfolio of 147 HMOs with none of his own money and without giving up his day job. That's the title of the event tonight, today. The clicker is not working. Oh dear, it's frozen. Sorry, I'm just going to get my technician to find out the problem. We tested this and it worked. Yeah. So we can get the slides moving. So while we there,
this is how you know it's live because you don't have these problems if it's recorded.
Yeah, there's a moral in the story there. Right. What I'm going to talk about is the 26 years experience I've had, and I'm going to explain 4 creative strategies to buy property, starting with none of your own money. A lot of people come up and say that money is the thing that's stopping you. It isn't. I assure you, in the years I spent training, and I've been training now for the best part of 20 years, money is not the problem. Just to give you a bit of an idea about myself, I don't recognize that handsome fellow standing there. Scrubs up well, don't I? And I've put a suit on. I'm one of the UK's largest commercial and HMO investors with a portfolio of 147 HMOs and 920 tenants, and that's growing. I've been in the business for 26 years, 30 years part-time property investor when I managed 20 HMOs and 18 single lets by myself, and all these properties are bought with none of my own money. It's one of the principles I've used throughout the business. I've got a special bonus for all of you. At the end of the webinar, so keep listening, we'll give you a checklist to raise joint venture finance. So at the end, we'll give you the link so you can get this checklist to raise joint venture finance. You may not know what joint venture finance is now, but I'll explain it as we go. So keep listening, and we hope to finish about 9:30, if not before. So if you're going to be a successful property investor, if you want to build a portfolio at the speed of your ambition, if you're going to seize every opportunity you see, then you've got to get the money problem out of the way, because that's the big worry that people have. So it doesn't matter how big or small your portfolio is. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. There will always be the deal that requires more money than you have. So to seize opportunity, you've got to find a way to invest in property with none of your own money. I am going tonight show you, with examples, 4 different creative financial strategies that I've used over the last 26 years. But first, let's look at why you're doing this. Start with why, as they sometimes say. What will property success give you? It will give you the lifestyle you wish for yourself. And that's what you've got to think about it. You can't buy one property with one credit card unless you've got one of those American black cards, which have unlimited spending. But you could if you have 10 or 20 cards. You certainly, maybe in some parts of the country, that will pay for your deposit. You'll have the money to buy a 3-bedroom terraced house and convert it into a 5-bed HMO. Now, I know the interest rate on credit cards is high, but the cash flow from an HMO is higher, so you make money from day one. And also, you won't be using credit cards, as we'll explain later, all the time, you'll then change over to a much lower mortgage. So instead of paying 20% on your credit cards, you'll be paying currently around about 4% on a mortgage. This is how, I only mention this because this is how I started my property journey. I didn't have any money. I started in 1991 and I bought a 3-bed terraced house for 35,000. Wow, I wish I bought a few more of those. I had no money, so I used credit cards. I built up a number of credit cards, used the cash withdrawals to buy the property. Now, you may wonder, that sounds insane, and even now I think it's amazing that I did such a great risk. But if I take you back a few years to 1971, when I was the age of 20, so we're going back in history by 20 years, from 91 to 71. And this is where the seed to become a property investor was planted. It's a chance conversation when I moved into my first bedsit in Clapham, which is in South London. He was complaining to me, I don't know why he's complaining to a 20-year-old, but he seemed to have liked me, that young people will never be able to buy a house. He gave the example of this house. He bought it, the previous house, which was very similar, in 1964 for £3,000. So in the space of 7 years, it'd gone, the price of a 3-bedroom terraced house in Clapham in South London had gone from £3,000 to £20,000. It's a rise of 14,000, which you may think, well, so what? But you've got to remember what money was worth back in 1971. The property had risen by 17,000 in that time period, which is equivalent to 2,400 a year. But in today's money, that's equivalent to 100,000 today, which, strange enough, is what properties in London are going up pretty well. That kind of figures is true today. And that's what planted the seed. I realized that by between the intervening 20 years, between 1971, when I remember the landlord complaining to me about, oh, this property's cost me 20,000, and I watched the price of property in London, in that area, you could check what the prices were, had gone from 20,000 to almost 200 grand. It'd risen 180,000 in those 20 years, which is over 3 times what I'd earned as a college lecturer, because I started off as a student at 20, a bit slow starter. I got myself a degree, ended up lecturing, and come 1991, as a college lecturer, pretty well up the tree of promotion in being a lecturer. But if I had just bought that one property in 1971, I would have been far more wealthier than I was going off and getting a degree and working hard for 20 years. That's what sowed the seed. And that's what actually built the desperation to go out and do whatever I could possibly do to buy property. My wife, I was married at the time, and she had held me back to a certain extent. She didn't like the idea of me buying property. She thought it was putting at risk our financial security. And unfortunately, in 1991, when she discovered I went out and bought a property using credit cards, went and talked to the usual naysayers and all the rest of it, said I was insane, she left me and took the cat. I don't know if I missed the cat. The problem was with deposits. If you invest in property, you need to save a deposit. And if you want to save a deposit, it makes a huge sacrifice. So you're far better off being able to borrow the money to do the deposits. Though I was a college lecturer, and I love the job, you probably gather that. I like talking, I like helping people. I think it's nothing better than education. Even though I'm a property investor now, I don't have to do what I'm doing now. I do it because I enjoy it. This is sort of a kind of paid hobby, if you want to put it that way. College lecturers, I realized the pension would not be that good. Everyone went on about the college pension, the public service being good. But I could see the writing was well on the wall for that. So I wanted to create a better life for myself and my family. So I had to find a second income stream. I didn't want to give up the full-time job. I don't know why now, looking back on it, because well, I do now know why, because I like lecturing. and that's half the reason I wanted to do it. But also, you've also got the security of the full-time job. Anyway, it pushed me past my own fear and the doubters to play it safe, and I took the risk and went out and bought this house. It wasn't quite as big a risk as you may think, because I was a college lecturer at the time. The college was screaming out for property for the students in the college. They were short of property. It's a bit of a turnaround now. Now you've got purpose-built blocks. But at that time, it's a desperate shortage. So it wasn't so bad for me to do it. I went and bought this property. The college accommodation officer, I remember well, came along and told me this was the ideal kind of property you wanted. All I had to do was put some beds in the rooms, the lounge and the front lounge. Both became bedrooms, the 3 bedrooms upstairs. They were good-sized bedrooms, 5-bedroom house, quite a large house. So there's still space for a communal area, oddly enough, and a kitchen to share. In those days, you didn't have to do very much to property. I put in a fire alarm, but it's nothing like what you had to do. The property was up and ready within a few weeks, filled it with students. And this gave me the income stream I wanted. There's a picture of the property I bought. There's nothing, no great shakes about it. I've still got it today. I remember it well, fondly. It's full of my ideal tenants. Long-term unemployed, never caused you any problems, so let him forget property. I've renovated it twice, and it's now got 7 tenants in it. So, having done so well in my first property, as just beginner's luck, I hate to know what would happen if that first property had gone wrong. I bought another property, but this time I bought much cheaper, and also a property that was in far worse condition. Like all amateurs who don't know what they're doing, I thought I'd do better by buying a cheaper property, except I had no idea of the time and cost that conversion work would cost me, and the drag it put on me. So I had to pump so much money into it. It ate up all my profit for a few years in funding the conversion work to change it. Now I can do that because I can borrow the money. But in those days, you had to do it out of income. So your first few years of income was put into trying to renovate the property at the same time as you're trying to let it. It's a bit difficult to renovate a property and let it at the same time. I just made mistakes. I accept it that unfortunately I didn't do the right thing when working on that property, and I repeated the same mistake. I look back at it, I can see exactly where I went wrong, and this is why I lost money on my portfolio. I didn't buy the right kinds of property. I just grabbed what I thought I could. I had this fear. Looking back, and I suppose it came back from looking at the properties in London, how they go rapidly, went up in price. I thought I would not be able to continue to be able to afford to buy properties unless I grabbed it now. So I gradually built up a portfolio, and then in 2000 things changed, mainly because I was able to borrow money. I got a cheaper form of finance. I'd gone through the learning curve, which I'm going to help you avoid. So by talking to someone like myself, an experienced property investor, you don't make the mistakes I made. So with the finance, I've now worked out a system to run the properties. I built up a team of builders to be able to help me work. I bought more houses in 2000 than I did in the previous years. I built up a nice bit of salary as well, or income, as you suppose you call it, from my portfolio. And it gave me a cash surplus to buy more properties. And the introduction of what's called commercial mortgages. Commercial mortgages are very different to ordinary buy-to-let mortgages. They're lending to you as a business. And I got a track record of 7 years. Even though I lost money, the bank seemed to ignore that, and were quite happy with my projections. So having learned my mistakes, I knew what I was looking for, and it made me easier to find the properties I needed. I was looking for generally tired 3-bedroom Victorian houses. I always think it's best to buy a tired property. It's a shame to spoil a good one, because you knock it around when you turn it into an HMO. So it's a shame to, say, damage a nice property, even though it looks superficially much better. you're going to pull things out, change things around. So you might as well buy something that's a bit tired, run down, because you get it at a cheaper price. And you learn to leverage your time. You build people around you, do the works. So I was able to refurbish 8 houses in a year without lifting a paintbrush, because I had the people to do the work for me. Without their help, I wouldn't be able to move forward and do the number of refurbs I wanted to do. I'd be working night and day. I didn't want to neglect my family. After all, I was doing this for them. There's a rule in property. I call it the rule of 5. If you want to get hold of my book, Landlord Rules, I'll throw that in as a freebie as well. Wayne is my technician. He helps me. If you write in or email in, ask him for my Landlord Rules book, and we'll send you free of charge tonight, because I really appreciate you coming in and listening to me tonight. Get those questions going. Just email me in jim@hmodaddy.com.
If you want Jim's book, just put your address type your address in the questions box, and then we'll be able to pull that off as a report, and then we can send that out to you. So if you just write your name and address in the questions box, and then we can post that book out to you.
Good. This is the one of the rules. It's called the rule of 5. When you have an HMO, generally the first 2 rooms cover the mortgage. If you're buying a property, if you're doing rent to rent, it covers your rent. The 3rd room covers the bills. The 4th room covers the voids and maintenance. What does that leave the 5th room? That's pure profit. So if you have a 6-room property, that doubles your profit. And if you've got 7 rooms in the property, you've tripled your profit. You got the general idea? So you can see how you can easily make more than 3,000 monthly cash flow from just one HMO if you get the right property. Phenomenally profitable when you're doing this, if you know what you're doing. So the rule of 5, it doesn't work in every area. So I don't know where you're all from, but some areas the maths don't work out quite the same way. So the beautiful thing about Victorian properties, I love them because they're so solidly built. From the street, they look fairly small, but they're a bit like a TARDIS, because they go back and back out the back. And they're fairly easy to split into 3-bedroom property. They're solid, they're easy to go and do this. By 2004, following my history, journey through this, I built up a portfolio of 20 HMOs and 18 single-let properties. I did this in my spare time. I still had a full-time job as a college lecturer, so it goes to show you don't need that much time to do property. It's like lots of things. You can make it a big job, you make it a small job. I went shopping with my partner. I was in and out in 5 minutes, went into the car because I got fed up there. 40 minutes later, she came back. I bought more than she had in the 5 minutes there. I just get out and do it. Some people like to take a lot of time, they stop and chat and make it hard work of it, or not. Or maybe that's what they like doing. Get in and do it. You don't need to spend that much time to do these things. But you need to know your system. You need your power team, it's the term for the people who support you. And you need to know what you're doing, or get the right guidance to show you what you need to do. The college went through a massive change in education. Though education at that time was expanding, not all colleges expanded. Like everything, some people expand, some people don't. So I took voluntary redundancy in 2004, and I decided that, having given up the full-time job, if I could build up a portfolio of 20 HMOs and 18 single lets over the previous few years part-time, what am I going to do now? Do I just sit there with my 20 HMOs and 18 single lets and wait for the Grim Reaper? Or do I get out and do something? So I decided to build my portfolio up. You've got to have a target. I thought I'll make 100. And property is very cyclical. If you're using finance to buy it, you need to be able to get finance, and you appreciate when there's a recession, you cannot get finance. When there's a boom, they're chucking loads of money at you. And if you remember 2004, we were in a property boom, and I didn't think it would last very long. So I set myself an over-ambitious target of buying one house a week for a year. which I reckon would get me up to nearly 100 properties. Looking back, it's a pretty insane thing to do, and it's actually quite frightened me of making targets in future, because once you set an ambition in your head, you're like an intercept missile. You're up for it, and you're straight into it. You don't look at the left or the right. You just do what you're doing. And I was out there buying one property a week, had the builders, had the team, the solicitors and the legal. It's all tickety-boo, and I ended up at the end of the year with 900 properties. I remember having a party in 2006 to celebrate my 100th property. It was quite insane, but if you set your targets, you can do these things. I also started a property training company. Given up lecturing. I miss the lecturing. I miss the interaction. I love the teaching. So I continued. As I said, this is a best paid hobby that you can have, helping people do what I do. I love talking about the business and doing these things. So it's easy to do this, provided you use commercial finance. People don't understand commercial finance. I'll happily show you how you can do this. It is totally different to buy-to-let and mortgages. They will give you the funding to buy your property and more. You need to have a system to do it, and above all, you need builders, and you have to work with your builders to help them do this. In 2006, I bought an empty office block for £110,000. The owner was going to put it into auction, and I got to pull it out of the auction, and I converted it into a 14-studio HMO. I refinanced it using commercial finance. I used commercial finance to buy it along the lines, but once I got it up and going, I refinanced it, and that gave me a cash surplus of £170,000. Now you may think, what am I talking about? Well, that means I bought the property, I got all the money back out that I had put into the property to convert it into a 14-bed HMO. So I got the 110k back out, the 100 grand it cost me to convert it, and on top of that, I was left with £170,000. Now that was one of many properties. I just remember that one because it was pretty momentous at the time. And that money, because it's a loan, is tax-free. You don't pay any tax on it. And you can go off and do what you want with it. The lenders, you could have a luxury holiday, you can have a car of your dreams, you could buy your parents the holiday home you wish to, you could buy your children whatever you want to do. It is money that is yours. There's no tax to pay on it. You can do what you want. Have a think about what you would like to do if you could pull that kind of money out of a property, and the property still is able to afford it, because the income, even though you've got that extra borrowing, is so high that you can afford to pay the borrowing. So there's the property. You can see, you still see the sign on it showing it's an office block. I must get around to taking that off. It's nothing particularly special from the outside. It's a large chunk of building, which is very cheap to buy. It cost me 110, conversion 100,000. It'll cost you more today. In those days, the builders were much more cost effective. So a total of 210. It has an annual income of 54,000. It values up at 546,000. And the banks will lend you 70% on that. They're doing that today. They did it back then as well, which is 382,000. So you can see how you can cash out on property. Fantastic. So I could take my family on a cruise around the Mediterranean. I've always wanted to do that. Hearing Plato describe the Mediterranean as a pond, it enabled me to do my childhood dreams and give me a family the luxuries I'd always wanted to give them. Very strange. I share a story with you just because it's Sunday evening and we're together. I was brought up wanting. As a kid, no one could afford to buy you whatever you wanted. And that sort of made a big mark in my life. And I hated it. So when I had children, I gave them whatever they wanted. And people said, you're going to spoil them if you do that. But I never said, if they wanted something, don't worry about your birthday, don't worry about Christmas. You want that, you want an X-Top, you want a bicycle, you want a laptop. I just bought it for them. Well, I could afford to, so it wasn't a worry. And guess what? All my children have grown up to be, I don't know what the term is, minimalists. They don't want stuff anymore. I find that quite strange. I'm a hoarder. I sort of want stuff. I think, oh, it's precious. You can't throw it away. Giving them all what they wanted. I wonder if the psychologists have got it right when they say that you shouldn't spoil children. Give them what they want and they don't want. Maybe it's, or maybe it's just the way it works for me. Not all tales go well, I'm afraid, and the financial crisis hit me with the force of a heavyweight champion boxer. Knocked me out cold, and the banks suddenly stopped lending. I should have seen it, but unfortunately, I hate him now, that George Brown, end to boom or bust. Having expected the bust and bought frantically, it came, and I just didn't expect it to happen. And so all that money disappeared, and that had an enormous impact on me, because at the time I had 10 properties I was converting, which I was expecting to be able to cash out on. And cashing out, as you can see, on average, probably something 100 grand a property, you'd make a lot of money. What's 100 grands? Quite a bit of a loose change. I'm trying to get my head around that. Is that a million? Yeah, it's best part of £1,000,000. Now, I'd have to pay a few bills, but I still have plenty of change left. But unfortunately, it's the other way around. Now, I couldn't afford to pay the builders, the suppliers, etc. And that caused me a lot of problems. I didn't go bankrupt. Don't get the idea I went bankrupt, but it was a very difficult time. And luckily, everyone was very kind to me. They all gave me time to pay. All you have to do is talk to them, face up to the facts that what had happened. And the other shock that came is, though I dealt with a few unemployed tenants in the early years, I vowed never to use them again. In my area, working went to unemployment virtually overnight, where I had, at the time, only about 6% unemployed. Within the space of a few months, I went from 6% unemployed in July. By November of 2004, so between July and November, I went from 6% unemployed to 60% unemployed tenants. Unfortunately, I didn't adapt fast enough to dealing with unemployed tenants. It's a different market you deal with. Now, looking back on it, I know how to cope with it, and I would be able to deal with it now. But then it's a learning curve, and I just didn't move fast enough. It all changed suddenly for me. So I switched from working tenants to unemployed. It's the cash flow that the property was generating, even though I had all the voids. Tenants just packed up and left. It was quite terrifying when I look at it. Working with the councils, the bureaucracy of the housing benefit system. I always say with housing benefit, it operates to try and make sure you don't get paid the rent rather than pay the rent. So there doesn't seem to be any imperative in the benefit system to make sure the landlord gets paid the rent they are due. It's all to do with covering making sure things are done right, making sure they don't overpay. The landlord is way down the bottom of the priority list, even if they appear on the list. Anyway, so I fought through that and got back up slowly as the recession passed, building up the property. So I'm showing you that property is not all sweetness and light, though much of the downside could be avoided by being prepared for it and ready to adapt. I just refused to give up. I started it. Having started, I will finish it, face up to the problem. And also, you've got to imagine, by that time I had probably well over 700 tenants. You can't make those homeless. I was employing a lot of people. So you had to do the best you can. Now, I can help you achieve the same success and avoid many of the mistakes that I made. Are you up for that? The fastest and most powerful way I can help you to make £100,000 from property profit this year, and that's cash in your pocket, you can use for your family, your luxuries, whatever you do. What can you do with 100k is to join my 100k club. This year, I'm creating a 100k club to make as many people who want to, who are prepared to work with me, 100k. This is what it's about. I'll provide you one-to-one mentorship on a monthly basis in my office in Wednesbury. You don't have to come, but I suggest you do. We can always do it by phone as well, so don't think you have to travel to Wednesbury. I think, God's sake, where is Wednesbury? It's near Birmingham. If you're down in London, it's only an hour and 10 minutes on the train. If you're up north, it's fairly easy to access by train. But the most important thing is by having a monthly meeting, whether you come personally or you do it by technology, over the phone, we make you accountable so that you take consistent action to achieve your goals. So you set your targets, you can think about it, you can talk about it. Also, how to deal with the problems. In life, it's sometimes best not to know all the answers, but learn things on a need-to-go basis. You'll never learn all the answers to everything. I'm not saying you shouldn't learn about things, but the best way to do it is just get in and start, and then if you run into problems, you've got me and my team to fall back to help you. I'm in effect your business partner in the eyes of the bank. I give you the experience so you can get commercial finance. You won't be able to get it by yourself unless you're an experienced landlord, but working with me, I've done it numerous times before, I can get you the commercial finance. And this is the way to pay back if you're using joint venture partners who have lent you money to be able to do this, or whatever way you have acquired your properties. You've also got the power team. I've got a team who are always looking for extra work, so you can access them. They're tried and tested to do the job, understand the limitations of the people you're working with, but you've got it there. You're not dealing with the unknown. I'll also be doing a monthly webinar like this, where you can come in and you can give me questions, share other people's successes and failures, so you can learn from them. This will be an exclusive community of ambitious property investors who are all determined to make 100,000 cash surplus this year. Are you one of them? Would you want to make that kind of money? This is the night where you can change the rest of your life. When you join the 100 Club, I want to make sure you have the skills you need to succeed. It's why I'm including one of my flagship courses, either the HMO Success Formula, which shows you how to build up an HMO portfolio with other people's money. This is a 2-day course that's been tested and refined over the 20 years I've been in training. Or the Commercial to Residential No Money Down course. And this shows you how to buy commercial buildings and convert them into flats, or if you wish to, HMOs, starting with none of your money. So you've got 2 courses. I'm going to throw one of those in free. Why only 1 course? Because if you're going to be successful, you've got to be focused. Remember what I said to you. Once you're focused, you're like an intercept missile. You just go straight for it. I don't want to overload you with information and too much choices. The dilemma you have with too many ideas, too many strategies. So there's just one, pick it, go for it. That's going to help you succeed. I'm determined to help you succeed faster than you think possible. That's why I want you to choose which course is right for you. You don't have to choose now. It's not something you have to make tonight. You can talk it over with myself or one of my team. Our first membership session is a strategy session. Together we can find out what's best for you based on your time, your experience, your risk threshold, what you want to achieve. If you just want to make money and you don't want to be a landlord, you probably want to do the commercial to resi one, because with that you're selling and you're making money. You don't have to hold the property. Or if you want to be a landlord and make money steadily throughout the period of time, then perhaps the HMO route will be for you. You don't have to decide now. What is your investment to do this? It's only £7,000. In other words, 7% of your cash surplus. So, sorry, you're not going to make 100 grand this year. It's only going to be 93,000. But I'm sure you'll be able to make it a little bit better than that. And you might be able to make up the 7 grand anyway. After the banks almost made me bankrupt, give me a hard time. I didn't go bankrupt. I just went through a very, very hard time. I was on the edge of it. I discovered is the most abundant, the most fun, and most flexible source of finance. And that's how I bought every property since 2008 with other people's money. Joint venture finance is a polite way of saying other people's money. You JV. There's plenty of people out there who've got loads of money but don't have the knowledge, the inclination, or the time to be JVing. So I raised over 6 million of JV finance in the last 4 years, and I bought 40 houses for myself and my JV partners. And it's taken my portfolio to over 147. So as I say, why should people give you the money to invest in property? They don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge, and a lot of people don't like the idea of being a landlord. Interest rates are only a 0.25%. Official inflation is about 1%. Actual inflation is, I reckon it's at least 10%. So they're just losing money by investing in the bank. People are desperate to look for another way of getting a return on their money. So by using JV partners, you've got an unlimited supply of money. They also bring their experience to the table. So you can, they can help you. I find it interesting to look at their experience. You can leverage their connections, and you can build your dreams with their money and help them as well. So there's a 10-step checklist I'll give you at the end of this online training. Remember what I said at the beginning? If you stay to the end of the seminar, we'll give you the JV checklist. And in this 10-step checklist, it falls into 4 categories. How to find JV partners, how to earn their trust, decide if you can work together, and how to get the money without asking for it. It's all very cleverly put together using good psychology. So let's look at each of these categories in turn. The best place to start to find JVs is to look at your network. Why would you look at your own network? Because it's people you already know. They trust and respect you. And it's much easier to ask for their time when you talk to them. Just pick up the phone. Simple as that. These people already know you. They like, they trust, respect you. And you are bringing them a profitable opportunity. So there's no reason why they want your call. Just tell them about it. Words along the lines of this. I've been finding a lot of low market value properties in your area. This will enable you to make over 40,000 on a purchase. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to buy the houses myself. I was wondering if you'd like to make a passive income from property. Can I buy you dinner to discuss it? As simple as that. You're not really asking them, you are discussing the opportunity. Carry out fact-finding questions to find out what they want. Explain the business plan to them. More importantly, show them the deals you have seen. And also, by working with me, you've got the credibility. You're working with the UK's biggest commercial and HMO investor. So, be careful. Don't make properties you can't keep. Don't try and over-egg the pudding. So, if they say that control is the most important thing to them, then be careful about that one. Because they're not going to leave it to you to do. And you can't have 2 people, as I say, 2 cooks, otherwise you spoil the broth. Walk away in that situation. If they're happy to invest and leave you to do it, that's another thing. If they want to find out why, that's not a problem. So send them a deal you found, make them feel secure, give them the irresistible offer. When you send them the deal you found, you're making the invisible visible. Show them facts and figures. Don't force them to make a decision now. Just leave it open. Drop the hint. That's the deal. Other people are looking at it. If they're interested. And prove to them you do what you say you will. There's a number of ways of buying property. The ones that I found give JV partners most security is to buy it in their name. So you say to them, the property is their name. No one can pinch it. You then, to get a deed of trust, there's an additional contract to give you the share in the property. So even though they own it, you've got a share in the property by the deed of trust. You tell me you'll do all the work and you'll split the profits, or whatever way you want to do it. But I always find it's 50-50. You try and do anything else, it's the start of a slippery slope. So you share the profit 50-50. Remember, it's the profit, not the gross income. So if it doesn't make profit, you don't share anything. But you will make profit. You'll explain to them how you can do so. And they'll get a passive income in the property. And they do it in two ways. It's the income that the property makes in profit, and also the capital appreciation the property makes. Property is wonderful like that. You earn two ways. One, by the income, which you do from HMOs, and secondly, from the capital appreciation. It goes in fits and starts, capital appreciation, but everyone understands that property will generally always go up and you will make money. Just when you, I think I've seen it all, property comes along and shows me something new, something that makes me realize I'm still learning, something that makes me excited to push myself and try something new. That challenge came last year in 2006 when I found a 12-story office block with a multi-story car park on the market for $2.5 million. The office would make a perfect, if not a rather large, HMO. The car park isn't of much value for me, but the problem is I didn't have the money. I didn't have $2.5 million to buy it. But over the experience I've had over the years, I realized that money doesn't stop you getting into property. There you are. That's it. £2.5 million office block. And I got that just for £5,000. In fact, I'm a bit sore that I paid £5,000 on it. I think I'd feel much better if I said to you I got it for nothing. But it was such an awesome deal. I put down £5,000 on it. How did it work? How did I get it? I'm going to show you the secrets of how I got this property. The asking price was £2.5 million, but the owner was quite happy to split it off and he wanted to keep the car park because that would make him a nice little income. He'd rent it out to a car parking company who would rent it out to individual motorists. So he could make a nice little income out of the car park. And the office block, he wanted £2 million. So the problem, how do I raise this £2 million? And strange enough, as we discussed the opportunities, he came up with a solution. I didn't even have to think of it. He offered me a 125-year lease. Now, a 125-year lease means I have the property for 125 years. You can have a 10-year lease, you have a 100-year lease, you have a 999-year lease. When a lease gets to over 100 years, you virtually own the property. It's very little difference to that and not, except that his probably, it'll go back to him eventually if you don't buy it. And I have got the opportunity to buy this lease. And he agreed I could take it on for a £5,000 fee. So I got over the property for nothing. We agreed a rent of 10 grand a month. And on that basis, just 2 floors of that office block that I turned into an HMO would pay for itself. It would make a profit, or certainly wash its face on 2 floors. And remember, I've got 12 floors. So the 3rd floor, what does that make? That's profit, less the cost of converting it. And 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12 floors. You getting the idea? How awesomely profitable this is? What does it cost to convert property? Offices I love, because offices are very similar to properties. What's the difference between an office and a bedroom? A bed. That's it. Most offices have kitchens in them. Most of them have toilets in. The only other thing you have to add is showers. And when you're dealing with the HMO end of the market, you may not think, oh, that's a bit strange, I don't want to live in an office. But when you're dealing with people who are contractors, people who want just a home from home, then you look at some of the hotels. They're very much laid out like an office. And you get furniture in, get it rented. Make sure it complies with all the relevant standards that happen. So this property will give me a cash flow well in excess of 400,000. I've stopped thinking about it because of the potential is enormous. However, what was I doing going and talking to someone when I haven't got 2.5 million in my pocket? Yes, okay, I could get the finance, and that's probably why I went to talk to him about it. And the other great thing about this is you've got very little competition. The higher up the market you go, when you get over the half, in my area, if you go over the £500,000 mark, you're the only person talking to the sellers. There's very few people out there who can think with that level of cost, or you could say that level of risk. But what's the difference between a £50,000 property and a £500,000 property? A couple of noughts. What's a couple of noughts between friends? So, in showing my property journey, I'm giving you the full and brutal facts of what happened to me. I hope you can see that. I'm just an ordinary guy who refused to give up. I tell you what, when I was a college lecturer, I wasn't considered the brightest bean on the planet in any way. So you don't have to be clever. You don't have to be anything particularly special. You just have to go out and play the game. I made a lot of mistakes. I've had great successes. I'm going to stop you making the mistakes, and I help you to achieve the same success without the costly mistakes that I made. So the fastest, most powerful way that I know to help you make £100,000 property profit this year, that's cash in your pocket you can use for whatever you want, is by inviting you to join the 100K Club. Would you like to join? Here's what it's all about. You get personal one-to-one mentorship from myself in my office in Wednesbury, or we can do it over the phone. You get monthly accountability, so you take consistent actions to achieve your goals. And that's important. Someone's got to be there and help you make sure you do this. And you've got the backup of being able to make calls to me. I'm the only person I know who allows you to be able to phone them up. You'll have my phone number, so you can talk to me if you run into problems. And if I'm not available, one of my team will be there to give you immediate support. And I'll always get back to you. You're in effect my business partner. In the eyes of the bank, I help you with my experience. You are as if I am the person applying for the money, because I am there to help you get the finance. And I do it all the time. People find it very hard to believe that I've got everyone who's wanted it commercial finance. They go, well, I can't get it because I've got a job, I don't own a property, I'm too old, I'm too young. Never been a problem. Everyone who wants to and prepared to put a name on the line can get commercial finance. You've got my power team. You don't have to find your accountant, your solicitors, and above all your builders. I've got those for you. And we'll give you a monthly webinar where you can talk to myself and other people and show you how you can obtain commercial or residential property with other people's money. This is something completely new, an exclusive community of ambitious property investors who are determined to make 100 grand a year. You'll take each step of your property journey with safety, having your expert on speed dial. So if you need a second opinion, so you never lose a deal, there's no rush to emotion in doing this. We can look at it, we can analyze it for you. Ask all your property questions in the comfort and privacy of your personal mentorship. Using our proven systems for the first time is always a challenge. So let me know what your sticking points are so I can show you exactly how to get around them. You've got immediate anytime access. You can call me up and you get a second pair of eyes to look at the numbers on a deal. You want to bounce ideas off a property expert with my experience. I've seen it all. I've got the opportunities that you run into. I can help you sort them out. All you have to do is pick up the phone. You are, in effect, when it comes to getting commercial finance, I'm your partner. So I get over the problem of getting experience, which is one of the big barriers to getting commercial finance. And that enables you to be able to borrow money to pay for the properties. So skip months of frustration by asking a property expert all the questions you want to ask. Setting goals is not enough to achieve extraordinary property success. If it was, you've already done it. You need an accountable partner, someone who will motivate you, inspire you, and give you the kick up the proverbials in order for you to be able to take the right steps to achieve your goals. Discover the secrets to building large property portfolio while juggling your day-to-day job. These secrets let me buy 8 houses a year in my spare time. So you can do it even though you've got a full-time job. You don't have to give up your job if you don't want to. I'll show you, the club will show you how to make 100k profit from just one deal, starting with none of your own money, and keep a property that gives you a 30k annual cash flow. So you don't have to sell them. You can cash out on that property, a lot of money, and make cash flow. You vanquish the most 2 common problems, property problems, raising finance and finding deals, with my monthly content webinar, which will show you how to go about raising the finance and finding your deals. And you can learn the shortcuts, secrets to managing an HMO. We'll show you how to do this so that you'll be able to manage success of your HMO without making mistakes novices make. So this enabled me to manage my 20 HMOs, and that's in my spare time. And I still had a full-time job. Roland, have you any questions come in yet?
No, nothing yet. So is that all clear to everybody? Does everybody understand that you know, one of the biggest things with this is the anytime access to Jim. You know, if you find a deal, if you see an opportunity, and you know, you're just not sure what to do with it, you're just not sure what step you should take next, literally just pick up the phone to Jim. If you see a deal, you know, I always think it's easy to get happy as with property. You see something, you go, yeah, I've got to buy it. Yeah, and that's when, you know, I certainly find Jim's help is the most valuable, because that's when, you know, somebody else can look at the numbers and go, you forgot about this, you forgot about that, or hopefully they go, yeah, it's perfect, you've got to buy it. If not, I'm going to. So, is there any other questions about the 100K Club? So how do we get started? That is a good point. So we haven't given you the link to get started yet. So we'll give you the link. The other thing that we haven't told you is that when are the mentorship sessions, Jim? Is it the first Tuesday?
First Tuesday of the month. Easy to remember. First Tuesday, Tuesday afternoon of every month, except December and August. We have December and August off, Tuesday afternoon. And say if you can't make it, we can do it by link you in. We're putting new technology where you can link in by, I'm not sure what it's called. Skype. Yeah, you Skype call, and you're still always able to make phone calls to ask your questions. And we'll probably record the events, but that's yet to be decided. Okay, shall I carry on then?
Yeah, keep going.
Right. So when you join the 100K Club, I want to make sure you have all the skills you need to succeed. That's why I'm including free entry to your choice of one of my flagship courses. That is the HMO Success Formula, which shows you how to build up an HMO portfolio with other people's money. And this is the option I like, because I've obviously done it. You build up your HMOs, you keep them, use other people's money to do that. You've got the capital appreciation of the properties and the income from the properties. So you're making money 2 ways. The commercial to residential, no money down, shows you how to buy commercial buildings and convert them into flats or HMOs or houses, and how to do it with no money. Now this is more a trading way. You don't have to trade them, but you have the opportunity. Once you've got a flat, you can sell the flats on, or you just sell the properties on with planning permission. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. The one is being more a landlord. The other, you can also be a landlord, but you don't have to be. And the reason I'm giving you one course is because success is found to be focused. If I overload you with too much information, you're going to go off the path. So you don't want to be having too many choices. You decide what you want to do. You don't have to decide now, but make your decision which course is best for you, the right one for you, and then get on and do it. And you can help you decide this, so you don't have to decide it now. In the first membership session, we'll discuss your strategy, what is best for you based on your time experience, your risk threshold, and what you want to achieve. So what is the investment for this? As I said, it's £7,000, which will just be 7% of your cash surplus, which will still give you 93,000 income. Let me explain to you, people who have already done this type of course. As Jackie, she was a highly paid lawyer, and with my help and support, she was able to go out and buy property. She's now got 6 HMOs, which gives her an income of £6,670 a month. Now remember, you should do the maths, that's not 100k a year, but she's making far more because she owns the property in capital appreciation. So she's making a lot of money, enabled to give up a job which she hated as a lawyer, and got more time to do what she likes to do. She said to me, I was there for her. So I know from experience why your help is worth this price. But I have to tell you, I was terrified before making the decision to join the club. If there was any way you could reduce the cost to make it easier for people like me to join. Now that got me thinking. She's a high-paid lawyer, yet the cost of joining the 100k club terrified her. So how would people who are not earning that kind of salary feel? So as a result of that conversation, I decided to reduce the price of the mentorship program for a limited time only. This is an experiment, and you are one of the few people listening here who've got an opportunity to join this experiment. One of the reasons why the cost is so high is I only wanted people who were committed investors, who are investing their time and emotion in their success. And I'm only prepared to do that with people who are not dreamers, who don't believe in the magic pill to overnight wealth. So I'm going to, for you, running a time-limited test to see if the price is the only way to find committed action takers. So the standard price for the club is £7,000. If you go on my website, you'll see the price is £7,000. I'm going to let you join tonight for £3,500. This trial offer expires on the 15th of March, so you haven't got long to make the decision. If you join today for £3,500, you've got up until the 15th of March to do this, and then after that, you go back to pay the full standard price. And you will not receive the bonus free ticket to join one of my flagship courses. So without that. The demand on my time means I can only deal with a limited number of people. So this is limited to 30 people. More than that, you have to bring in other property experts to help out. So if you like a personal monthly mentorship with the largest HMO commercial investor in the UK for a year, then you must act now. You attend my personal monthly mentorships in my office in Wednesbury. You can attend the monthly training and question and answer webinars. You can choose which of my flagship 2-day courses you can join. And here, at the end of a 90 days, if you decide this is not for you, all you have to do is email with proof that you've taken action, and I'll give you a full refund. No forms to fill in, no problem. I'm offering you a full 90-day, try it, see if it's for you, and if it doesn't work, and you've made your full effort, your full commitment to try it out, then we'll give you the money back. The guarantee is designed to earn the trust of committed property investors. I don't want the get-rich-quick dreamers. It's not for whiners who say they're too busy. You make the time. You stop sleeping. You stop eating. Saves on all these fad diets. The people who are prepared to take consistent acts in their property business. And it's not that much work to do this. You'd be surprised how quick and how easy. If I said go back to that 2 million tower block, that deal was done in less than half an hour. It took us longer to travel there and back than to do the deal. It's not for investors that want me to do all the work for you. You need to do the work. And in fact, that's useful because you learn how to do it yourself. It's not for people who are too afraid to get out of their comfort zone and try something new. This club is an exclusive playground for ambitious investors who are determined to change the quality of their life with property within a few months. Can I emphasize, you don't need experience. You don't need mountains of capital. In fact, you don't need any money at all. You don't need to quit your job. You just need the desire to have a better quality of life. So if you possess that fire in your belly, that I would love to help you direct your energy so you can achieve life-changing results within a few months. So to join the 100K Club at a discount price of £3,500 for you to discover, and also to be covered by my 90-day 100% money-back guarantee, just click the link below.
Just to say, there's two things. One, I'm posting the link into the questions box, so you'll all be able to see it, except I don't seem to be able to do that, which is a little strange. The other thing is that link is incorrect. The correct link is bit.ly/100K Club, and it is case sensitive. So it's the £, 100, and then a capital K, and then club with a capital C. Now, like I say, I would post it into the questions box, except I'm unable to do that. So, Jim, if you're able to do it your end, that would be great if you could do that.
Right. My able technologist is doing it now. Perhaps you'd like to repeat that, Roland, the link again, please.
Yes, so the correct link is bit, so bit.ly, and then it's /100K Club. So it doesn't have the join, so it's 100K Club. So it does have the £, 100, and then the capital letter K, and then club with a capital C. So it is case sensitive. So if you've got any problems, get to the link, then let me know. Just to answer a couple of quick questions. Donald, we're asking for the recording. Yes, this training has been recorded, so if you could just type your email address into the question box, then we will send you the recording tomorrow. Cliff has asked, what are the upfront costs? Do you mean the upfront costs for the training, or do you mean the upfront costs for buying a property?
Right. So I missed that question, Roland. Can you just say it again, please?
Yeah. So Cliff asked, what are the upfront costs? So what I just want clarification on is, does he mean costs about the course or costs about getting a property?
Okay, well, let's just answer an alternative. The course is £3,500. There's no VAT on it. So it's £300,000. You join by going onto the website. The upfront cost of buying properties, we'll show you how you can acquire properties. We'll give you the paperwork. Sometimes it requires £1. So I've acquired just last week a property that was going to cost £140,000. Using my own paperwork and £1 down, I've acquired the property. So I've probably, being Scot, I object to paying the pound. So you don't really need any money to acquire property. You just need the skill, knowledge, and the wherefore to understand how you can do these things. Does that answer your question, Cliff? When someone tap on there.
Hasn't looked yet. Right. Great, Donald. Thanks for putting in your email address. I don't think the link is working. I might have tried to cut and paste, and the link isn't working.
Let me just test it for you.
Wayne, have you been able to put it in? Oh, I can now send it all. Right, I've just posted it. So, Michael, if you click the link that I've just posted in the questions box, you shouldn't have a problem. If you do, then let me know.
Any questions or anything else you'd like to ask me, you can call myself or my assistant Wayne in the morning on, what's our number again?
0121 526 6410.
That's 0121 526
6410.
6410 6410.
Right, should we keep going?
Okay, right. Okay, moving better. Give an example of people who've succeeded with my mentorship. Jackie, who mentioned, an overworked lawyer, wanted to replace a salary with a few hours work. I was able to help her to get 6 HMOs in a year. She's got £6,670 monthly cash flow. She's now quit her job. Remember, you're also probably making more with 6 properties in the area that she's dealing with. That's probably going to be making her, I should guess, well over 100 grand a year in capital appreciation. Gary, he fled violence in South Africa and arrived in England with nothing. He's now got over 10 HMOs with 120 rooms, all bought with none of his money. He's now making over £15,000 monthly cash flow from property. Sam and Cindy Madrill, they were lab technicians working long unsocial hours. With my help, enabled them to buy 5 HMOs in a year. They bought them without using their money. They're now making £5,479 a month cash flow. They both quit their jobs and they're now enjoying the fruits of their success. They're traveling, they've been on many cruises and tours, and now looking to buy a top-of-the-range sports car. When you can afford it, there's a lot of choice out there, and they haven't quite made up their mind which car they wish to buy, but they're going to be buying one very soon. Show you a picture of it when they do. Bing Bing and Peter wanted to build up a legacy for their children. And they bought 10 HMOs in 18 months. And that gives them over £12,000 a month cash flow. They've now got the luxuries they want, and they've got the legacy to leave to their children. And it was such good fun. They were great people to work with, all of them. Jackie, Gary, Sam, Cindy, Bing Bing, and Peter. Are they any different to you? No, they're not. They just put their doubts aside. They trusted me long enough to give it a try. Now they're enjoying spectacular success. Success that gives them more time, more freedom, more choices, and a luxury life. So to join the 100K Club at the discount price of $3,500, we're covering this with a 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee, provided you have put the commitment into doing this. To join, just click the link below. This is a no-risk opportunity. It is time limited. This is an experiment to remove the barriers of money from joining. So remember, setting goals is not enough. Education is not enough. Self-belief is not enough. If it was, you'd already succeeded and have the success you want. If you want to transfer the quality of your life with property, cash flow, then you need a mentor and a coach. Someone who's been out there and done it. Someone who made all the costly and time-consuming mistakes so you don't have to. I'm just an ordinary guy who succeeded simply because he refused to give up. I've had a lot of success and a lot of failure. I'd like to help you achieve the same success without the setbacks and false starts. So don't you owe it to yourself to give this a try. If you have any objections, let us know. We'll answer them. Learn the secrets at no risk to you because you're covered by my 90-day, 100% money-back guaranteed. And remember, you save yourself £3,500 for my time-limited test. So to sign up, that's the link, bit L.
Is that the correct link now, Roland?
That's the correct link.
Yep.
You got
Yeah,
the
that's
correct link
the
there.
correct link. Just so you know, guys, I've posted it into the questions box a few times, so you should be able to just copy it straight from that questions box. If you've got any more problems, let me know. I suppose the only other thing is, if you'd like to speak with Jim or his team tomorrow about this, you'd like a call back, if you could just write something in the question box with your name and the best number to reach you on and the time that you would like us to call you, then we can make that happen.
Fantastic. So feel free to give us a call if you've got any doubts, any questions, anything you want to talk about. So now to get your bonus, the JV checklist. Is that the correct link, Roland? We've got the right one?
That's the correct link. And again, I'm just going to paste that into the questions box, so that should have appeared in all of your questions box. You can just literally copy and paste that into your web browser, and yeah, that gives you the JV checklist.
That's a checklist that helps you find JV partners. So that's the checklist for you. That's the bonus we offered you. And remember, if you want the book, HMO Landlord Rules, just put it in and we'll send that to you just as a thank you for listening to the seminar tonight. Great. So thank you for taking the time to learn the 5 creative finance strategies so you can build your property empire at the speed of your ambition. I hope you can now see multiple ways to remove the money problems from your property journey. I'm HMO Daddy, and if you have any unanswered questions, please let me know. There's the office number, and there's my email address. Office number 0121 526 6410, and the email is jim@hmodaddy.com. I would like to thank you very much for coming along and listening to me tonight. Anything else you'd like to add, Roland?
No, that's it. Just to say thanks for coming online tonight, guys. We've had a great time, and best of luck in your property journey.
Thank you. Anything from you, Wayne?
Good night, and thanks very much.